Chapter 9, Exercise B1, Listening. Get a hold of the audio file for B1, Exercise A. Each sentence in the passage is incomplete, and you need to listen to it. Listen to the passage entirely first to get the general idea, and then listen again and put a caret where you hear a missing word. And listen once more to fill in the missing words. So you'll hear, some employees can't imagine breaking all ties with work, and so forth. Check your answers with the answer key. In Exercise B, you'll listen to conversational English, and you'll choose the best sentence to complete each conversation, A or B. Again, listen to the audio file, and then check your answers with the answer key. In Exercise B2, contrasting gerunds and infinitives, you need to choose either the gerund or the infinitive form to complete each sentence. For example, in number 1, I don't mind algebra. In fact, I kind of like it. After the word mind, you should use the gerund. I don't mind studying algebra. Number 2, she's not willing a cut in salary. To be willing, that's an adjective, isn't it? What comes after that? An infinitive. She's not willing to take a cut in salary. Now complete this exercise and check your answers with the answer key. In Exercise B3, you'll focus on verbs followed by gerunds and infinitives. You'll read each sentence and determine whether a gerund or infinitive is required in the blank depending on the meaning of the sentence. Let's do the first one together. Number 1A. I lost 20 pounds. I was successful because I stopped sugary high-fat foods. Is this I stopped eating or I stopped to eat? I stopped eating sugary high-fat foods. That means I was eating them before. I stopped eating them. I changed my diet. I lost 20 pounds. I was successful because I stopped eating sugary high-fat foods. 1B. He was in a hurry, so he stopped at a fast food restaurant. Did he stop eating or stop to eat? He stopped to eat at a fast food restaurant. He stopped whatever he was doing before to eat at a fast food restaurant. He didn't go back to his home and cook a nice meal, which would take a lot of time. He was in a hurry, so he stopped to eat. That was his purpose, the infinitive of purpose. Now, continue with this exercise. Check your answers with the answer key. Now remember that stop, remember, and forget, followed by gerund and infinitive, have different meanings. In Exercise B4, you need to complete sentences with gerunds and infinitives. So you need to think about yourself using gerunds or infinitives to talk about your own personal experience or your desires. For example, if you're talking about the next 10 years, you think into the future. Maybe you will say, over the next 10 years, I want to have 10 children. Ooh, wow. That's quite a lot. That's a possibility. Over the next 10 years, I want to grow my business. I want to double my income. I want to learn to write English correctly. I want to become the boss of my own company. That's an example, or those are several examples. I'm sure you can write sentences of your own to describe yourself using gerunds and infinitives. Exercise B5, changing gerunds to infinitives. First, read the doctor's letter. Underline the 5 sentences that contain gerund phrases as subjects. You'll see that the first one has been done for you. Dear Samantha, having constant food cravings can be very unsettling. What is the subject of this sentence? having constant food cravings. That's a gerund subject. What's the verb? Can be. Can be is a linking verb, and on the right side we see very unsettling. That's an adjective. So we see gerund, having constant food cravings, as our subject. After you identify all 5 sentences that contain gerund phrases as subjects, you'll do part B to rewrite the sentences you underlined. Change them to it plus the infinitive. So, for that first sentence, we rewrite it this way. It can be very unsettling to have constant food cravings. It can be very unsettling to have constant food cravings. Continue with sentences 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then check your answers with the answer key. In exercise B6, you'll study verbs followed by object plus infinitive. Think about this. What might these people say to each other? First, write down 2 commands, instructions, or pieces of advice for each person. Then rewrite the advice using an infinitive. Use some of the verbs in the box or others of your own. So in the box, you'll see some words that mean a way of telling or saying something. Advise, permit, ask, persuade, convince, tell, encourage, urge, invite, want, order, warn. Now, in situation 1, imagine that a female teacher is giving a command, an instruction, or a piece of advice to you and your classmates. For example, turn in your homework by Friday. What did she say? She told us, past tense, to turn in our homework by Friday. To turn is the infinitive. She told us. Verb told, object us, indirect object us. And she told us something. What is that direct object? It's used in the infinitive form. She told us to turn in our homework by Friday. All right, in B7, focus on the performer of an action. Read the sentences and rewrite them using a possessive or an object pronoun plus a gerund wherever possible. Pay attention to the underlined words. And also note that some sentences can only use a possessive plus a gerund. If we have this sentence, he leaves early. I don't mind it, meaning I don't mind this action. Then you can write, I don't mind his leaving early, using the possessive. Or, I don't mind him leaving early. This is an object pronoun. Number 2, he speaks so loudly. It makes me uncomfortable. That means his speaking. So we can say, his speaking. So we can say, his speaking so loudly makes me uncomfortable. Notice that for the subject, we say his speaking. We cannot use the object pronoun. When can we use the object pronoun? Only if it's as an object. Right, this one. I don't mind him, that's an object, leaving early. We cannot use an object in the subject position. We can only use the possessive. Who's speaking? His speaking. His speaking so loudly makes me uncomfortable. Complete this exercise and then check your answers with the answer key. In part B, you're going to read the sentences and rewrite them using an object pronoun plus an infinitive. Pay attention to the underlined words. For example, in number 1, he gets angry. I expect it. I expect him to get angry. I expect him to get angry. We use the infinitive. All right, so rewrite the rest of the groups of sentences and then check your answers with the answer key.